Dan.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Newtek.
We're gonna flip you guys.
Well, they're both upstairs.
We're gonna flip you guys. Would you mind if I flip you guys?
Oh, sure. Do you want to flip us?
I'm also going to take a picture for our Instagram. Since I'm doing all the social media and hosting and behind the scenes. That's hot.
That looked way different in my head.
Not in mine. Can you do me a favor and not spill your drink on the? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking
On the Samsung tablet?
on the tablet and/or speaker that are behind you.
Can I just touch that tablet?
Yeah.
I'm on my notes.
Hey.
Do you have one of those yet?
No. Seems cool. Wow.
Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. Hello, hello.
I may have something for you at home. So.
Rib
Your what?
death.
Oh, there's buttons over here. I'm not gonna fuss
There's
with
like
it.
buttons and things.
So if you guys
Yeah.
wouldn't mind tweeting that we're going on, so youtube.com/what's trending. 2 minutes. And the hashtag is Samsung SXSW. It's on the wall right there.
Okay, wait. So what's the
Do
URL?
it or else you will be shot as
what's
you leave
trending.
this.
Rim.
Show.
Rim. To start an interview. Let's keep it light.
Yeah, that was a
Let's
good
have
one.
fun with it.
You just scoot like 6 inches that way. Let's get you. Yeah, let's get you nice and close.
So it's what's trending, obviously, with no
Here.
apostrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the
It's Samsung.
Can you bring up
SXSW.
who's ready for a live chat with Dan Harmon and Neil Berkeley? Who's a fan of Harmontown? Who's a fan of Harmontown? That was my deep voice meant you were supposed to like clap louder. South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. Woo. It's been a fun time. This is our first day here. We have 4 days of live programming with some amazing guests. Today we are enjoying happy hour right now. It's happy hour time. I'm joined by my co-host and head writer of What's Trending, Lon Harris. How are you doing?
Everybody.
And I'm actually about to tweet an Instagram from my phone this because we have Dan Harmon and Neil Berkeley from Harmontown.
Yeah.
And I encourage all of you to live tweet, live whatever, using the hashtag Samsung SXSW. We're taking your questions live. Lon is in the chat room.
Right here.
I'm about to take a picture and tweet too. In the meantime, we're going to show you a clip from the documentary Harmontown.
Let's roll it.
You're a winner. You can do this. Everybody out there wants to you.
Dan Harmon is
Dan Harmon is a writer.
A creator.
A straight up nerd.
Definitely a fat ass.
Smelly.
An alcoholic.
He is no stranger to self-destruction.
I'm his biggest fan, and I fired him.
I know him as the creator of Community.
Dan is mostly known for the Chevy Chase message.
But now he has been fired from the show he created.
He
didn't want to go to therapy, and he needed an avenue through which to vent, so he started doing Harmontown.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harmontown!
Well, Harmontown is a podcast that they do every week.
I woke up this morning and I realized I have nothing to do. So we're gonna go on tour. Oh!
Hi!
Let's play Dungeons and Dragons,
Let's do this. I'm a dungeon master! I've known you for a long time. You've gone through a series of fetishes.
Precious.
I love doing this. This is great.
Now, I must say, it was really fun watching this documentary because, you know, you see comedy documentaries and tours, but to see someone doing a podcast, there's, you know, a bit of a different experience, but it set the stage to tell your story. How did this all come about?
Wait, you're burying the lead. You were in the...
All right, I wasn't going to make this about me.
Movie.
I actually, all right, so we got the trailer. When this was booked, we got the trailer, and then Lon, our writer, goes,
"That's me."
Shira, that is him. Is that your voice in the trailer?
You're like Jay Leno now. You can start to be in all these movies about talking dogs and stuff. You can go like, you can just hire yourself out to be expository.
Yeah,
like,
let's change the context of this interview completely. You're like, yeah, you're someone now. I feel like I'm talking to someone.
I like to turn the tables.
Exactly.
Now I hold your validation in my palm.
Thank you. I feel much better, actually, now. Just don't squeeze too hard. Oh, let it go. Freedom. So tell me how this all came to be.
It started when Dan emailed me. Thanksgiving of about a year and a half ago, he emailed me and said, "Hey, I saw your last movie and I liked it. I've got a tour going out. I'd like you to shoot it. Let's meet." And we met, and that was Thanksgiving, and I was shooting on December 3rd, so it was all very, very fast.
Yeah, I saw my fiance, now fiance, then
Congratulations.
girlfriend.
Mazel tov.
It may be short-lived. She was texting me that she came here in an Uber and she smashed her head on a DVD player as she got into the car, and she's tumbling around the back of the room like with a head injury. But I love you, baby.
He's always there for you, yeah.
I saw she was watching Neil's Wayne White documentary, Beauty is Embarrassing, on a laptop on a plane, and she had earphones in, so all I saw was that it was this gorgeous looking thing about this guy that I assumed was important and amazing because he was being portrayed so beautifully in this film, and I thought immediately, maybe I can make myself seem likable if somebody shoots me like that beautifully.
Is that important to you to seem likable? Do you even care?
Yeah, really. I know how sad that is, like, given the results, but that was my bullseye.
But some people actually don't. When you're a comedian, you actually like, you're like, I don't give a shit. But is that pretend? Like, do people just do that because they're in the end they're still insecure?
I think smart creatives come to the realization that it's like a weird push me, pull me, tightrope-y thing where you... First of all, you need people to like you, and you have to be honest with yourself about that. But second of all, people don't like people who need you to like them. People like to be voyeurs. When we consume entertainment, we like to watch people, and we don't want to watch them watching our reaction to them. We want to watch them strip. We want to watch them be embarrassed by themselves. And so if you figure that out after a while, that you go, I am a slave to people's opinion of me, but at the same time, therefore, I have to act like I don't give a crap about anything.
It's a balance in life.
I mean,
it's the same balance that's struck by Samsung's new
Dan,
Super Sam tablet. You're never more than a swipe or a gesture away from your latest apps, dwaps, and doodaps.
This could be the next commercial. I'm telling you, you are a spokesperson.
Erin made
have
it safely,
you.
by the way. She's right there. She's behind the pillar.
Oh, there's his fiance.
She made it.
So we actually have some questions already in the chat room. Lana's been taking your questions.
Sure, we have a lot of questions in the chat room. The first one I want to ask, Zuzana Kalibrova, I hope I'm getting your name right. She asks, does it ever feel overwhelming to realize how many people listen to your podcast, especially considering they come from all over the world? She's from Slovakia.
Clearly. I mean, she's from somewhere, Zuzana.
Slovakia, New Jersey.
Holy crap. Well, Zuzana, no, it's not overwhelming because I do the Harmontown podcast actually to take a break from caring about numbers. That was part of the impetus. Am I using that word right? It was part of the desire to do podcasting as opposed to TV was like. Right. Oh, freedom from, in particular, advertising and Nielsen ratings. So I actually don't look at the numbers. Our podcast producer's back there. He loves them numbers. Dustin Marshall's back there, and he sometimes tells me like, really, it's doing great. a lot of downloads.
Right. So you ignore that entirely. Like, you're not like, well, this episode did a lot better than that one, so I'm going to focus on what we did over here.
Yeah, definitely not that. Because that would defeat the whole purpose. Because it's like, okay, so I'm going to get drunk and talk into a microphone for 2 hours a week, but I'm going to, like, try to package that.
Right, which was the best drunk.
Let's refine it. Like, oh, the people didn't really like that rambling about race relations in American history.
Ixnay on race relations.
I mean, how much of you are you doing that on the other projects? Like, are you doing that on Community, where you're like, people really respond to Inspector Spacetime, so I'm going to bring that back?
It's really hard to do that with ratings. Like it's you know how when you're on a diet, like you.
No, I don't know.
I'm just not. I'm not. This
I
is
want
why
credit
I
on
brought
that
Lon
setup.
into this.
It's like when you're on a diet, like sometimes the things that you do that end up making you lose weight or gain weight, like you did them 6 weeks ago, like, and you can't, like, so with Nielsen ratings, if you notice something got you a 1.2 instead of a 1.1, that could be someone's cat stepping on the remote. You definitely don't want to just repeat whatever you did that night. It wouldn't be real science.
I want to go back to the documentary also, in terms of, you came in at a time of your life, I mean, it was a very pivotal change in terms of being fired from Community, and like for you, were you at that point like, this is the time to tell my story, or is it just a good timing and then that's why you decided to go on tour and all that?
It was honestly all about pursuing comfort and fleeing pain. Like as soon as I lost my job at NBC, just as after a breakup, my two big impulses were, first of all, sleep with as many people as you can, i.e. sign a deal with CBS, sign a deal with Fox so you can feel lovable again.
Yeah.
But the other part of breaking up, as we know, getting dumped especially, is fear of commitment, fear of making that mistake again. So the podcast wasn't gonna hurt me. It was the only thing that wasn't gonna hurt me. So I think I very unhealthily just folded myself up in that and then said, self-destructively enough, we should go on tour instead of me working on these things that earn me money.
But it didn't start out as biographical as it became. It was going to be let's just shoot these 3 weeks and see what happens. Let's see what we get. But just having that desire to tell a story, it eventually was like, okay, let's tell them who you are. Let's talk about your writing. And he was writing on tour, and that became a big part of the movie. So it was like, okay, let's talk about why you go on stage and why you get to be on that, have all those fans. Like, why does that happen? So we had to explain who he was, and we got into the writing, and we tell the story of Heat Vision and Jack and Sarah Silverman and Community. It was all sort of a snowball that started rolling during the tour. It wasn't meant to be as biographical.
It was actually one of the most complicated things that happened to this documentary was me getting rehired at Community, because one of my friends watched a cut of it and said, look, it's fine, but you're the guy that got fired and rehired. Like everyone that
we wanted to see you be the dark horse.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. Yeah, everyone that comes to this documentary is going to be having an expectation of that story. They're gonna watch a tour movie about your dumb podcast. Like, you need to address the elephant in the room.
Totally.
And so Neil very rolled with that amazing last minute punch, and his guy, was it David Hyman? You guys got on they got on the phone with every famous person I've ever touched. And
did you know who they were getting in touch with and what they were saying at the time?
Not really. I suggested
we knew who to get. He gave us a list, but our producer David, who had never produced a documentary or had never done this, I said, here's a list of famous people to call, and he goes, all right, sure. And next thing you know, we're interviewing Ben Stiller and Jack Black. But yeah, no, we had to tell that story. It was like that. For one, that's the end. You know, that's how we wrap the story up, because he gets his job back. Like, that's a great way to do it. So it's really cool how the movie has suddenly become what Dan did during that lost summer between getting fired and rehired.
Were you surprised when you look back at the movie and to hear what people say about you?
I mean, I have yet to experience that part of it. We're here at South by Southwest. We're going to premiere it, and
So you haven't seen it yet?
You haven't seen the movie?
No, I've seen the movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
I'm sorry.
no, what people when they talked about you, like Sarah Silverman.
the testimonials in the film.
When Sarah Silverman talks about you, you hold your breath and cross your
Maybe
fingers.
that wasn't a good example.
And if you escape with your head on your shoulders, you breathe a sigh of relief. She's one of the funniest, most acerbic people. She could have done so much worse than to imply that she and I couldn't work well together. I'm so grateful for the mercy that she extends me when she talks about me to other people, because
they cut a lot out. No,
I mean she gets paid to eviscerate people, and so she calls me funny. She says she's my biggest fan, so I don't mind so much that she says, yeah, we didn't get along and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But the reality is that no one says anything in the movie that Dan hasn't said on his podcast. I mean, all this is already out there, but seeing it on the screen and seeing it in real life is going to be a different experience for even like the podcast listeners. But Dan talks about all those things and all those things they say.
We're going to go back in the chat room right now because we had so many questions.
We got a question for both of you. Did you each have a favorite moment on screen or off from the tour? That's from Scott Root in the chat room.
A favorite moment on screen?
Brooklyn was amazing. Brooklyn was special on the tour.
Yeah, getting to stage. Well, I guess we're going to go and call it stage diving. Like I stage dog paddled into the audience. Like
stage crawling.
I just blatantly. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of a stage dive, I guess, where you're supposed to just like surrender yourself to joy and trust and plunge into the audience, and they grab you. I split the difference and said, look, I'm 40 years old. I'm never going to have this chance again. Here I come. And I crawled and rolled over onto my back. And, 300 people who probably don't go to the gym every day because they're Harmontown fans, like held me up and moved me around a room in Brooklyn. And it was... It definitely that was good for 3 hours of self-esteem, at least.
I didn't know how much I love the road lifestyle. I fell in love with being on a bus and traveling from town to town. Like I hope a rock band finds me and says, "Hey, come shoot our tour," because I love that lifestyle. That was fun.
I actually miss it in a way that frustrates my fiance, because when I watch the movie, what I see is myself not experiencing how cool it is to be on the road because I'm working on this laptop the whole time. And I really blew it in that regard. The things that I remember about the experience of being on a bus were really cool, and Erin hears me say to other people, "Yeah, I miss it. I want to do it again," and she's like, "That was the worst month of my life. Like you were miserable, and you were an asshole."
It's always in hindsight when you look back and you're like, I should have enjoyed that more. Like I miss it, kind of.
Yeah, and so I kind of want to do it again and do it right emotionally.
Maybe like self-torture. You like that?
Well, I also like the idea that it's like being on a field trip. You have someone in charge of you. Yeah. You have this little cubby hole you can sleep in, and stopping at a grocery store is like an adventure. You kind of feel like that little risk that you might get left behind, and you buy a pizza pocket, and you feel like a Promethean figure, like because you did something. And
I mean, the best nights were the nights where we didn't go to a hotel or didn't check in. We just got back on the bus and just headed out.
Yeah.
Anything you cut out of the movie or that you didn't? Yeah, what?
A lot. Yeah, we shot
about 650 hours.
Yeah. Well,
so what was that thing that you cut out and why?
There's a lot of things. Well, someday there'll be what I think is going to be a very watchable 3-hour cut on the internet. Like we'll put it up.
Super fans are for
people will get to
every director has said that for every day. That conversation's happening right now.
Aaron has a podcast.
Every building in this city. There's a very watchable 3-hour cut of this.
No, they wrote a song called "Chicken Noodle Dick" on the road, and you only have 90 minutes, and you have to get as close to 90 minutes as you can. And we had to sacrifice the making of that song. And
that is true. Like I was just thinking when I was walking today, I was like, chicken noodle dick.
That sounds intriguing.
The interesting thing about it is you get to watch the cameras are there for 24 hours, so that it actually captured, like in a nature documentary, it captured the creation of an inside joke. It captured that weird genesis. We were high. We were on a bus. We were holding different things, pretending they were our penises, and we were making up songs about them. And it ended with the creation of a song with lyrics and things. So you actually get to be there for the inception of it.
And you see it go to the stage and perform.
I have a deal. Can we release that on our channel? Just that moment.
I think the Samsung content has to be PG-13.
YouTube.com/what's trending. No, but that's amazing. The making of a meme is an interesting thing.
There's a lot of people in the chat room that are actually asking, tied into this, would you ever consider releasing, would there ever be a director's cut Blu-ray? With all this footage.
There's going to be, We're gonna have a website, and it's harmontown.com. And someday we want to we've shot 26 shows. We're gonna put every show up. We're going to put a longer version of the movie. We're going to put... We shot Dan writing a song for Eric Idle and performing it that night. Like that scene, that's going to be on the internet for people to see.
Yeah.
Man, and I think all of Dan's are going to grab it and take it down and put a better movie together, probably.
Crowdsource the movie, yeah. Do the next generation.
That'd be a great idea, yeah.
Jeffrey Harper also wants to know in the chat room why the Harmontown podcast is not live streamed itself. Is that something you would consider doing?
No. I mean, it would be no problem to do it. Well, yes, it would be a technical problem. Like Dustin would probably have a heart attack. But as far as creatively, that's at this point, yeah. When we first started doing it, I had some weird old media instinct that we needed to edit it. And but I think what I learned about podcasting culture is that you're talking to people who are cutting carrots for dinner. You're talking to people who are driving to and from work. You're talking to people who are welding things. They actually kind of appreciate the expansiveness and nakedness of it. So we really don't edit Harmontown anymore unless there's some extreme weird legal implication. So therefore, we could probably just live stream it now.
Has doing the podcast and being part of like kind of this new wave of like building your own community and audience, has it changed the way you approach now traditional media and all your more traditional jobs, or not?
Not really, no. Yeah. I think it changes the way I look at people. It changes the way I look at myself. But I've always considered when I go to work to write a sitcom, it's the same as writing like a sonnet or a haiku or a limerick. It's a format that has rules, and that the rules define it. So that'll always be just this weird thing with rules. Podcasting hasn't made me go back into community with like a podcasty sensibility.
Except bringing in one of your sidekicks.
Oh, yeah.
Into community, the Dungeon Master.
Yeah, Spencer came on the road with us. That was
that
Neil's idea, by the way.
Was that out last night?
Where is Spencer?
His episode?
He's here. I saw him.
Wait, what?
Was this episode out last night?
No, it airs next week.
Okay.
Next week, you'll see Spencer in Community playing Annie Edison's brother.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it's not like a cameo. It's like a guest star. Like,
threw him in there.
He's got several lines in several scenes. Like, he's in a story. He's a character, and he nails it. He's great. But it was Neil's idea to bring Spencer on the road. I didn't consider Dungeons and Dragons at that point to be anything more than sort of a passing fun fancy in the Harmontown podcast in Los Angeles. I didn't think for a minute that our job would be to bring that on the road. It turned out to be really necessary and also a documentary saver, because my big flaw as a documentary character is I don't change. I am pretty self-satisfied, whereas Spencer he goes on a journey. He's whisked away by a rich, fat a-hole, and taken to New York and gets a standing ovation for dungeon mastering in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's interesting to watch that happen. It's not as interesting to watch Willy Wonka eat more chocolate, pat himself on the back.
I kept a journal. I would email the editors these notes from the road, and I was looking back at them, and there's a note from like the third night of the tour, and I said, expect a lot more footage with this guy Spencer, because something's going on. This guy's going through something.
Something interesting. Internalizing, but yeah, he's externalizing it. It's deep, man. All right, let's go back to the chat room and everything.
From building
What's going on with Zuzana? I just want to know, is she satisfied with the answer she got?
She was very satisfied with it. She had several more questions.
I don't want to disappoint someone named Zuzana.
Zuzana and Morgan King both wanted to know if there's any news on the Harmon Quest role-playing game that you'd promised to animate.
Yes. We're going to show a little clip from that. Not here, I don't think. We're going to show it at somewhere, right? We're showing some sneaky peeky at it at South by Southwest. We've got a first episode of that. The working title is Harmon Quest, although I'm getting really sick of my own name. It's sort of inspired by the Ricky Gervais HBO show.
Yeah.
Nothing is funnier to me in animation than watching animators work with audio that's been pre-recorded, that's just conversational. So it's us playing Dungeons and Dragons, but you're watching animation of it's us holding swords, talking about it while we're stabbing monsters and stuff.
Right, yeah.
It's really cool. And Spencer is a producer and writer on it.
Wow.
Like it's his thing.
He's become very pivotal in your whole life.
I wanted to ask about Spencer, and then we actually have some fan art that I think we should show because it builds on this idea. But what do you think? I mean, aside from just his D&D knowledge, what do you think he brings to the podcast, like that you want to keep bringing him along and taking him on the road with you?
The thing that fascinates me about Spencer is he used the word a lot, unflappable. Like he just, he just goes with the flow, everything he does. It seems like anyway.
Yeah, out of all the things that aggravate me about the millennial generation, I don't know if he qualifies as a millennial or whatever the hell he is.
I think he's in there. I think he makes the cut.
Whatever the next people are, whatever you call them, like. So much frustrates me about them. Their concept of teamwork being important, which just sounds like my parents talking. But Spencer kind of like he represents all the good parts of that. It's like he's very logic based. He's sort of like it's like talking to a Vulcan. He's got that sort of like his personality is sort of embodied in Reddit. You know, like he has a logic to him, but that it's not like his goal is to enslave the world with logic. He uses logic to try to be a good person, and if he's arguing with you, he's just arguing because that's what he's good at, and he wants people to not make assumptions about things and stuff. I don't know.
He's more logical. He's not as emotional.
He's like a little spore of me before I became a terrible person for all these bad reasons that have to do with just I don't know, just stuff that you don't like about me. Like Spencer's got an opportunity to be a genuinely good guy.
Would you ever think about writing a D&D movie?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you mean in the sense of like it would be like an extension of the cartoon version of it where it's us playing D&D?
Well, there's never been a good one.
No, I think I as the person who wrote that question.
No, what?
More like if they were ever going to do like a real that guy Courtney Solomon messed it up when he tried to do one.
I would
like a big budget D&D movie.
The new Ghostbusters would be just do a movie where there's a couple of guys getting together at Gen Con because they're middle aged. Like me and Rob Schraub were actually coming up with this pitch at one point.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of middle aged guys who used to play D&D. They get together. One of them bids in an auction like for like something that he doesn't realize is like a magic die or something, and it just sucks him into some psychotic universe where like no one's going to ask questions about the magic if you get to watch like Patton Oswalt, Will Ferrell, and Seth Rogen get sucked into
Please make this movie.
medieval world, and they're like fighting actual dragons in an actual dungeon and being themselves. Like that would be. If you let me write that movie, I promise you.
I think he just greenlit that movie. I think it's.
If I had the power to greenlight things, that'd be top of my greenlight list.
He's just wet his pants right now.
Well, a couple minutes ago. Let's do. I want to show some of this fan art because some of these are really amazing, and we picked them out. So
we did our research. Oh, we do have one fan question. As you, why are you giving yourself credit for all of this? I'm sorry. All right. I do have one question because, you know, with Veronica Mars being here at South by Southwest, people do say 6 seasons in a movie slogan has been ubiquitous when talking about community. So is that going to happen? The movie?
I don't know, man. I think there's people at Sony that are kind of excited about the idea of doing the movie component of it because if you do it for a low enough budget, you might make your money back in an easy way there. Yeah. I would be unable to refuse that call to adventure. And as far as the 6th season, I mean, come on, we're like the #1 comedy on Thursday night at NBC because they canceled everything else. Like,
congratulations.
We're also one of the lowest rated comedies on Thursday night at NBC, but
you're beating No More Parks and Rec, which is great.
It's us and Parks and Rec are just like we every week we go like. We're #1, and we're also the worst.
That's NBC's slogan for next season. So let's take a look at some of the fan art.
Let's do it.
This first one, this was called Half Dan, Half Jeff. It's by Siva Jack Art.
We want to get your reactions and your thoughts.
Yeah.
I've never looked more handsome. I was just realizing that high def is worse than a mirror. I have zits I didn't know I had. I'm seeing on your show. It's terrible. Thank you, whoever made that.
I could see that like hanging on a wall somewhere.
It's high class.
Beautiful work. This next one, it's from a Redditor called I Might Be Dead, and this is just called Dan Harmon.
I love that one. I think I had that as my Twitter avatar at one point.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I love that.
It really stood out to me.
You look very angry.
That's a face I could never accomplish in real life, but is absolutely what's going on inside me all the time.
But if your anger is like humor these days, does it really make you a mean person?
I'm terrible. I'm an awful person.
Good to know.
Yeah. I get a couple Fernet Brancas and a couple glasses of beer in me, and I start start picking fights with bouncers
That's
and
just
bartenders.
from your past.
It's not-
Rehashing the
it's
past,
my,
man.
It's my future.
I'm
doing it
3
tonight.
hours.
I'm going to do it right now.
No,
give me another blueberry fizzlet. You sons of bitches! You can't control me! You're the robots! See?
We watched it happen in real time. That was amazing. This next one
My
is...
dad hit me with a belt! Samsung, you sons of bitches!
I don't want to keep going. I want it to
Keep
continue.
feeding them. Keep feeding
This next
them.
one, this is we mentioned Chicken Noodle Dick. This one is called Chicken Noodle Man.
Wow.
By having
That
changed
seems
on
long.
Tumblr. Hey, what are you trying
That
to
is
say?
sweet.
No, I'm surprised. It seems
Nice of you
pretty.
to say.
They're making you well
That's
endowed.
Jeff Davis improvised this amazing song when he was on tour with the Who's Line guys. About he was holding a Pringles can to his crotch. And so, some people call me Pringles Dick, but I never really found out why. I don't really have a Pringles dick. I just keep my dick inside.
That was.
I keep my dick inside a Pringles can because it keeps my penis safe and dry. Some people call me Pringles Dick, but I never really found out. No, I never found out. Never really found out why. That's Jeff Davis.
I like that someone took the time to bleep the trailer, and we're just filling the show up with.
Oh, I don't know. I thought. Well, the trailer had some stuff bleeped with some stuff on screen, and then you said shit earlier, didn't you?
She did.
Oh,
Yes,
did
I heard
I?
that. You did. You
Sorry.
definitely said shit.
Oh.
It's happy hour.
You guys all notice these things. All the writers here.
That was a frequent question, by the way, that came up in the chat room was, did Jeff ever find out why people call him Pringles Dick?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's yeah. That's that song's about a tragic hero.
It is, yeah.
He doesn't know. We know what he doesn't know. Right. They're calling you that because they can only see the exterior.
They don't know what's inside. This next one is called Sir Sharpie Butts a Lot. I found this on the Harmontown subreddit. I could not find out who drew it originally.
You have a deep butt crack
It's
there.
got a Crick Falusian inspiration
does,
to it.
I thought it might have been John Kay, but I couldn't figure out.
I like that.
This next one is called Tooth Beast. This is from Sam Line on
Nice.
Instagram. I just thought this. You don't have to comment on it. I just like the way
That's
it
in
looks.
the movie.
Yeah, Spencer coming up with that, describing that monster is in the movie. Yeah.
And then finally, you gave an interview where you talked about how every time you eat a sandwich, it shows up on Tumblr. And I loved this GIF. We had to pull this up for you.
Oh, will I ever be that thin again? That's all I see when I see that
It's just
photo.
because it's a selfie angle, you know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do you ever look? Do you read? I mean, you obviously are into Twitter. Do you read everything? Do you try to avoid it? With that said.
I've gotten to the point where I try to not read anything, which makes the internet a very lonely place. Like I have to either just read about blue whales or something on the internet, or because I can't. I just go on Twitter. Just today, somebody tweeted a link, and they tweeted a quote from a review that said something like, "Dan Harmon's facility with his characters is masterful," and I was like, that's a safe link to click on. But it was an article about how Community was more drama than comedy, and there weren't enough jokes in it anymore.
Wow.
And then I went in the bathroom and cried.
Are you a crier? Is he a crier? Did you cut out the crying?
Yeah, he is. He is a crier, actually.
Sorry, I know I'm
I'm
laughing
just
at
shocked
that.
how
That's
this,
not nice.
people are so mean on the internet, anonymously mean just for the sake of being mean. So this week I stopped going on the internet because we put the trailer out, and I was like, I can't do that. No Reddit, no AV Club.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, well, it's a big old toilet. We all put our little poopies there.
But we use it all the time.
And it's weird because then we go there to eat, and we're like, why does this taste like poop?
Who knows?
I got one last
I'll do
fan
it.
question
Okay.
before we wrap it up. Newportian, who I had to, cause they asked like 30 questions, so I had to ask one. When watching footage filmed for the documentary, what moment makes you most ashamed in retrospect?
It's a good one to end on.
It's a good note to end on, I think. Shame.
I mean, definitely all the moments with Erin. Like I feel like I'm a bad boyfriend when I watch the movie. She's supportive and suffering and loves me, and I learned one thing about being a documentary subject. Whenever you do dry humor with your girlfriend, always end it by laughing and then kissing them on the forehead and saying I love you. Even though it doesn't seem very funny at the time, dry comedy looks really bad in a documentary. So I guess I'm ashamed of myself as a lover when I watch it, if that counts as a moment. Or what are you ashamed of?
Something you did in the movie? The movie is who Dan, like I said, it's who Dan is. It's everything he says on stage. We just get to see it, in front of us for the first time.
Well, it's great to watch. It was great to have you. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You guys are so much fun. Give it up for Dan Harmon, everyone.
And Neil Berkeley.
Yes, and Neil Berkeley. Thanks.
And give it up for Samsung's new Weeblo Doblo. Coming out, the Weeblo Doblo X1000.
And once again, of course, this live stream will be available youtube.com/what's trending. Subscribe for all of that. We have amazing live programming throughout the weekend. More to come tomorrow with everyone from Robert Rodriguez. We have Zac Efron.
Nice.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Who else do we have?
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco tomorrow.
Neil
deGrasse Tyson.
We start the
Dave.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
The best
Dave
Franco. The ultimate Franco.
We also at 10 a.m. if you're here in person, we have a brunch and online with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Nice.
We're eating
And
tacos with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
And Chef, we have Jon Favreau tomorrow.
Jon Favreau. So it's going to be an action-packed day here on youtube.com/what's trending. Also here in person in Austin, Texas. You guys rock. Harmontown at Harmontown. Please check it out. If you're in Austin, check it out. Also in theaters. And Samsung Blogger Lounge. We are here. We have a little present. Do we have a present?
We do.
We have a little present.
We don't.
We don't have a present.
We don't have a present.
I'm sorry. I'm getting misdirection here.
They got drinks.
They have drinks, though. Hashtag Samsung SXSW.
Saturday night, Vimeo Theater, 9:30. Harmontown.
Okay, watch it.
World premiere.
And we love you all. I'm Shira Lazar. This is Lon Harris. We'll see you
Thanks,
tomorrow and on the interwebs. Love y'all. Bye.